This is WTVM News Leader 9.
Thanks for joining us on this Friday for News Leader 9 at 5. I'm Jason Dennis.
And I'm Barbara Goche. A very wet start to our Friday, making the commute both to and from work a little more stressful for some drivers today. The rain comes just as many people are readying for spring break.
Whether it's hitting the road or flying somewhere, we want to let you know what to expect on the road. So let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid with our first check of our forecast.
Well, guys, a bit of good news out there at the moment. We are looking at the rain moving out of the area. Showers beginning to push from west to east out there. The clearing line now moving through East Alabama, so some dry weather for our East Alabama counties at the moment. And we should see a break in the action later tonight before more rain moves back in by Saturday morning. Now, temperatures today have stayed cool thanks to the clouds and showers, mostly 50s and some 60s out there across the viewing area. As we go through the rest of the evening, our temperatures should steady or level off, I think. Most spots might even see the temperature coming up a couple of degrees by the early morning hours on Saturday before that next batch of rain moves back into the picture. Now, we're going to talk more about the rest of your weekend, and there are some much brighter and drier days in the forecast as we get ready for spring break week. We'll have all the details on that for you coming up a little bit later on in the show. Guys.
All right, Derek, thank you. Columbus police testified Damian Bell punched a 23-month-old baby in front of another minor. Bell has pleaded not guilty to the murder of Kaya Bassett. News Leader 9's Brittany Dion was inside the courtroom today for his preliminary bond hearing. Brittany joins us now with more details in tonight's top story. Brittany?
Barbara, 19-year-old Damian Bell pleaded not guilty to beating his girlfriend's daughter to death inside their Far Road home. Investigators testified a 14-year-old neighbor told them on March 21st he witnessed Bell punch the 23-month-old in the face, then pick her up, only to drop her head first onto the kitchen floor. Police report Bell told a family member the little girl fell in the bathtub after the family member noticed the child gasping for air. The victim was airlifted to Atlanta for further treatment where she died from her injuries.
The victim was stabilized and airlifted to Eccleston Children's Hospital at approximately 7:56 p.m. The initial diagnosis of the victim was bleeding on the brain and retinal and intracranial hemorrhage. It was also reported the victim was brain dead.
Now, investigators testified the preliminary cause of death is blunt impact head trauma. Bell is charged with first-degree cruelty to children and murder. Now, Bell is not the biological father of the victim. He's being held in the Muskogee County Jail without bond on that murder charge. Coming up on the news at 6, I'll have more details of the horrific condition police say the victim was in when she died. Back to you, Jason.
All right, thank you, Brittany. The family of the child Bell is accused of killing gathered today at the Progressive Funeral Home on St. Mary's Road. Today's wake was held to give family and friends of Kaya Bassett the chance to remember this toddler. The funeral for the girl will be held tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock at the funeral home.
Well, also in Muskogee County Court today, a man who identifies himself as a transgender accused of molesting a teenage boy, Christopher Russell, faces charges of child molestation and sodomy. According to police, Russell met the 15-year-old boy through social media. Law enforcement officials say this led to the two eventually meeting and having sex. Russell, who you see here, has said he believed the boy was 18. He's being held on a $20,000 bond, $10,000 each for each charge. His case is now being bound over to Superior Court.
An East Alabama man has been arrested after police were alerted to inappropriate behavior at a children's clinic. Gary Lynn Morgan was arrested by Phoenix City Police and charged with failure to register as a sex offender. He was identified as being at the Phoenix City Children's Pediatrics Clinic after parents there complained of a man touching children in the office's waiting room. Morgan is now being held in the Russell County Jail while police investigate these accusations.
Well, the mayor of Columbus delivered her budget proposal in council chambers this morning and addressed the major deficit the city of Columbus is facing heading into the next fiscal year. News Leader 9 Janine Donaldson was there and has more on the proposed plan.
Mayor Teresa Tomlinson presented a plan addressing the deficit in the 2015 budget. The deficit consists of $4.5 million in health care costs and $6.5 million for operation costs.
We were able to remedy that, balance the budget, eliminate the $11 million deficit, save about between 80 and 120 jobs, and also maintain our city services level.
She noted that the city has grown in population and residents need to have services. But with the hiring freeze and attrition of city employees, cutting jobs was not an option.
We're a city that's growing and we're demanding more services, and yet we have fewer employees providing those services. So we're at bare bones. We could not have sent home 100 people.
The recommended budget is $263 million, a 0.05 reduction from this year. The plan consists of a reformed pension plan, a cost of living raise for employees and retirees, a raise in garbage fees, unfunding all vacant employee positions within city government and putting that money in the general fund, and setting the funded overtime budget for the Columbus Police Department and the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office.
There may be a tweak here and there, but I think that with the 60 days of debate Council's going to have the opportunity to have now, that they're going to see that there are very few alterations that can be made and maintain the stability of the city.
City Council has 60 days to deliberate before voting on the budget. For WTVM News Leader 9, I'm Janine Donaldson.
Meantime, a former Alabama senator who survived more than 7 years as a prisoner of war has now died. According to family members, Jeremiah Denton died around 8 o'clock this morning at the age of 89. He died of heart problems. Denton served a single term as a U.S. senator. He was held as a POW in North Vietnam. During a TV interview, he was able to alert the U.S. military of conditions there by blinking torture using Morse code.
Well, Alabama's unemployment rate continues to rise. The latest reports have the state's unemployment at 6.4%. According to the State Department of Labor, the February rate is up from 6.1% in January. Counties with the lowest unemployment rates are Shelby, Lee, and Autauga counties. Counties with the highest unemployment rates are Wilcox, Perry, and Dallas counties.
An Arkansas mother was thrown in jail after she was caught breastfeeding her baby while drinking. Although she was not breaking any laws, the mother was charged with endangering the welfare of her child. Newsletter 9's Sarah Lim visited the Columbus Health Department to look into the story, and Sarah spoke with a local lactation consultant who says mothers breastfeeding while drinking can harm their babies.
We don't typically recommend breastfeeding women to drink alcohol.
Carrie Rayborn, a lactation consultant from the health department, says drinking alcohol while breastfeeding can be harmful to the babies. Alcohol can transfer to breast milk and make children sick.
The baby metabolizes alcohol at a much slower rate, so their liver is not developed enough to break down the alcohol like it should.
Rayborn says mothers need to plan how they're going to feed their babies when they decide to get some alcoholic beverages.
Alcohol will transfer into the breast milk, but the key is that you want to do that in moderation as long as you are planning to feed your baby either pumped breast milk or alternative feeding.
Rayborn also says drinking beer will not increase the milk supply.
There is no evidence that drinking beer will increase your milk supply.
And Dr. Zanga from the Midtown Medical Center agrees. He says alcohol is a drug, and when a breastfeeding mother drinks 2 standard glasses of alcohol, hormones needed to make breast milk are held back.
Now, Dr. Joseph Zanga, the chief of pediatrics at Midtown Medical Center, says although there is no law that says nursing or pregnant moms cannot drink in Georgia, he recommends that mothers stay away from alcohol just to safely care for their babies. In the studio, I'm Sarah Lim.
All right, Sarah, thank you so much. Well, time is winding down for you to vote for your favorite charity in our WTVM Give 9 campaign. We'll kind of tell you more about the finalists coming up and how you can vote.
And we've been talking a lot about this tragedy. Later, find out who was the latest person to be pulled from the massive mudslide in Washington State and what officials have to say about the death toll.
Expect any widespread severe weather around here as we head into the day on Saturday, but still you want to be prepared, especially this time of year as we get set for more spring-like weather. Our next Weather Radio Wednesday event is going to be next week at the Public Store off of Bradley Park Drive, so hope you can come out and see us between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and we'll be talking more about your weekend forecast coming up for you right after the break.